Good morning, everybody. Good to see you here, or good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're at. It is 11 o'clock in the morning in California, sunny San Diego. Actually, it's chilly here today. We're in the 50s and 60s. To us, that's really tough. So, guys, let me know if you can hear me. Just put something in that chat box, and I'm going to click on it, and then it's going to downsize, but I do want to be able to see what you guys are saying here. So put in the chat box if you can hear me. Just type in there if you can hear me. Okay, yeah, Stephanie says she can hear me. Cool. And there's Linda. I see Linda there. John, David. And put where you're from. I love seeing that. I don't know why. I just do, because it's people from all over. Ralph's there. I see William out there. Hello, William. Christopher. Johan's there. Ernesto's there. Carl, Denise. We do have a full house. So, man, I appreciate you guys are showing up, and we're filling up, and we're probably going to have to increase the number of spots so that people don't get locked out. There's Crystal, Victoria, Carol, Lewis. I see Tina, Victoria. There's John from San Dimas, California. You're not too far from us. Of course, California is pretty big. Crystal's from New York. Luis is there. Let's see here. Chrissy, we just talked a little while ago. I sent you a video a little while ago. Perry there is from Colorado. Carl's representing LA. All right. We've got Mathis. We've got somebody else from Northern California. That's Shantae. We got Judith from New York. Wow, what a good crew today. So today's a little bit different. You know, when I started my business, it was difficult. Okay. So, you know, I thought, well, I ought to share with you guys some of these difficulties you run into, because everybody probably thinks, oh, it's so easy and everything always goes just perfectly. And, you know, that's just not the case. You know, there was a lot of difficulties. And I didn't introduce. Jessica's with me today, a beautiful wife, and she's our executive administrator. If you'd say hello, Jessica.
Hey, good morning, y'all.
So Jessica's there, and if you got comments, guys, if you got questions, don't forget she is monitoring all that, so you can put it off to the side there, whatever your comments are, and she's going to try to answer your questions. She may yell some out to me. But what I wanted to do today is really kind of show you guys the stuff you got to go through, because you know what, when you wake up every day, there's always some kind of problem. Some days are better than others. You know, if you're on this call right now, you have access to the internet, which, you know, there's a lot of the world that doesn't even have that, you know, so maybe you've got a computer, and sometimes we've got to, you know, just be thankful for what you do have. But I'm going to run you through a lot of problems that we had, you know, and I'm not going to tell you that everything was perfect for us, because it sure the heck wasn't. And you know what? It's not perfect now. Every day is difficult, right? Every day you've got challenges. Every day you have problems. You know, you're going to have customer problems. You're going to have technical problems. You're going to just, it goes on and on and on. It just never stops. But you know what? There's enough successes in there so that, you know, you can get through those problems. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to walk you through how I got started in this. You know, a lot of people will ask me now, well, how'd you decide to manufacture survival food? And my answer is I didn't. That was not my goal at all. And whatever you're doing, whatever product you're working on now, it may take you down a different path, because you know, literally when I got started, I never thought I'd be doing a coaching call on Friday about how to build, you know, e-commerce businesses. You just don't know what direction it's going. So let's kind of take a look at, you know, where I started and what I did. And you know what, feel free to ask any questions, because Jessica has been along for the ride of this business, and she knows a lot about it. And she's going to be, like I say, answering those questions off to the side. So here we are when we first get started. Does this feel like you? Huh? Do you feel like, oh my God, I'm going to start a business. I'm so excited. This is awesome. I can't wait. This is super, super, super exciting. And, you know, we all feel this way when we get started. But, you know, we think that, you know, if we start this business, this e-commerce thing, we've heard about it. We've heard about people making millions and millions and millions of dollars, that all we're going to do is put up a website, right? Simple enough. We got people to help us with that. And then we're going to put a bunch of products in there. And then what's going to happen? We're just going to be rolling in dough, right? We're going to make tons of money, and everything's going to be really, really simple. But what really happens is this, right? We run into some technical issues, or, you know, We run into some product issues. We run into customer issues. We can't always devote the time to this that we want to devote. And we run into situations that make us want to quit. But I want to mention a few times today, you're 3 feet from gold. Anytime things really, really look bad and things are really going down or things aren't working out or your ad didn't do what you wanted it to do, you're probably really close to success, because that's where most people end up quitting. They get a little bit frustrated, and they just stop. And the alternative is to go back to what you were doing before you decided you wanted to do this. Now think about that for a second. I had a boss that I couldn't stand, and the thought of going back to him kept me motivated. So you need to find that thing that really motivates you to keep going, because we've got a lot of tools and we can make a lot of money doing this, but you're gonna run into problems. You got to realize that. It's just the way it is. You're not going to avoid those problems, because here's what's going to happen. If you work for somebody else, then you're going to have to handle their problems, right? So the only difference is, at least they're your problems. At least they're things that are going to help you grow your business and build your lifestyle. So here's what happened to me, and I first wrote that with two, but it wasn't what happened to me. It was what happened with me in my business. So let's take a look at it. The first thing I tried to do is I tried to try to sell cell phone cases. I thought that would be a great idea. My thought process was, there was a lot of cell phones out there, right? So if there was a lot of cell phones out there, right, I'd make a lot of money. But what really happened was I burned up a lot of money. I didn't make the money that I wanted to make in selling cell phone cases. Now, why is that? What happened? What went wrong? Well, I figured out that, there was a lot of people with cell phones. True, lots of people with cell phones. But the problem was that they changed those cell phones a lot. So I would buy inventory for cell phones, and they would sell because I would buy the current inventory of what's going on. And then all of a sudden people would switch their cell phones. So I would take, what leftover cell phone cases I had, and I just put them in my closet. Okay. And every time a particular model, a particular style quit selling, I would just put it in my closet. One day I woke up and my closet was all cell phone cases that nobody wanted. I mean, nobody wanted them. And they didn't want them because they didn't fit their cell phones. And on top of that, I was making, I don't know, 30 cents, 40 cents, sometimes 50 cents on every cell phone case. So it doesn't take a mathematician to figure out you have to package a lot of cell phone cases in little packages to make any money. So my next step was I tried to sell camping supplies, because I found some places I could buy some little gadgets, and I started buying inventory, these different camping supplies. And I actually, back then the big thing was eBay and Amazon. So I was doing, I'd say 99% of my business on eBay, trying to sell all these little camping supplies. And I was selling a little bit of them, not a whole lot, but I was selling some, all kinds of little odd, different types of gadgets and, compasses and little knives and all these little tiny things that, were small, easy for me to package. Because back then, that drop shipping model wasn't available like it is to you guys now. I mean, you guys now can decide on a product you want to sell, and you don't even have to buy it. I mean, it's like super, super easy to do it. Back then, I had my laundry room full of supplies. I remember I had a neighbor come over one day, and she saw all these boxes piled up in my laundry room. She's like, "What's all that?" I said, "That's my online business." And she just kind of looked at me kind of funny, like, "Okay." So where was I with all those camping supplies? Well, I was somewhere at this crossroads. It was kind of like a loss sometimes. Sometimes I made a profit. Sometimes it was break even. But I still really didn't, have any money made. I really didn't have a real sustainable business, anything I could rely on. And I was still working my job. Like, some of you guys listening today, you may still be in a job. So what happened from there? Well, I got contacted by this guy one day, and he actually had survival foods, and he reasoned that, if I was selling camping supplies, maybe I could sell survival foods. He asked me if I wanted to do that. And I had a little website, but it was really hooked into PayPal. So there was not much to it. And I put those products on my site. Now, he actually was still working from his home too. And I didn't know that at the time. And he was making these survival foods, and they were like, I don't know, buckets of freeze-dried different things. And I got to tell you, they didn't taste very good. They were kind of salty and kind of gross, but I was willing to sell anything I could at the time because I wanted to make some money. So I thought I would get rich, and I got to tell you, it went pretty well. These survival foods kind of took off, and I was selling like a few $1,000s a month, and then $10,000 a month, and then one month I hit $80,000, and I thought, holy crap, I've hit the jackpot, right? I've done very, very well here. I'm gonna be rich. So I just went and quit my job. That was what I did. Then I had some problems on eBay, and here's the problems I had on eBay. The guy that was actually making the food for me, since I was selling a lot, guess what? Everybody else that was buying from him was selling a lot too, because there were some world events and there were some disasters around the world that caused people to say, hey, maybe we need, these survival foods. So, the way eBay works, if any of you sell on eBay, you're supposed to ship as fast as you can. Well, all of a sudden after 3 days, he wasn't shipping, because I was depending on him to ship all these orders out for me. And he wasn't shipping. Now, keep in mind, I was actually getting those supplies sent to me, and then I would repackage them and ship them out. But I had to wait for him to send them to me. And I talked to him, and he says, "Well, we got really busy. It's going to be a couple of weeks." A couple of weeks turned into 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and you can probably guess what happened with eBay. Any of you who sell on eBay and you don't sell stuff, I had a couple issues going on. I didn't make my own products, okay? Which nowadays it's not a big deal because you can use a drop shipper in China and put it in your Shopify store. But back then it was a little bit different deal. I got really behind on orders. I mean, really behind, because there's nothing I could do about it. I took in the money, and I had this guy saying he was going to ship them out, but he just didn't do it. Okay, so guess what? Customers got mad. They got really mad. Now, the last thing you want, if any of you guys, and you could type in the box there if you've ever sold on eBay, if you're selling on eBay and you're selling on Amazon and you get an upset customer, that's the last thing you want to have, right? Because what happens? When those eBay customers get mad and your regular customers get mad, eBay all of a sudden said, you know what? We don't like what you're doing, and we're just going to take, John says he's done it, he's sold before. They took $20,000 from my account. Now, the way eBay works, and I'm going to warn anybody out there, is you have to connect a bank account to it. And when you connect a bank account to it, you click that you accept their terms and conditions and all that. And if at some point they think that they have too much risk with you, what they will do is just take money from your account, any amount they want. And they say that that's for chargebacks and for problems and all that. Well, I didn't know that. Well, back then, $20,000, that's a lot of money. And it may be a lot of money to you right now. I mean, it was like a ton of money to me. And I had quit my job and I had gone all in, and all of a sudden eBay took all my money from me. So now what do you do? Well, I said, I've got to develop my own brand. That's the only thing I can do at this point. So I started working on that, and I came up with a brand of freeze-dried foods, and I decided to call it Survivalcave Food. So I thought, once again, if I had my own brand, I'd just get rich, right? That'd be a simple thing to do. The good thing was that I had better quality now. Okay, so this product, it tasted good. They were like gourmet recipes. It was stuff that people really, really did like. So I had that upside there. I could also do the quantity I wanted, because I had a manufacturer that was making my stuff for me. And I said, well, shoot, I can make as much as I want now. So that was pretty handy. And it looked cool, right? Our packaging looked a lot cooler than what I was selling. So, and it kind of looked cool to have, your own brand too. People looked at you and said, wow, you're a real company now. Now, keep in mind, guys, I started off selling cell phone cases. I don't know what you're selling right now. Everybody, you can type in the box there some of the stuff you're selling. It's kind of interesting. And I will tell you this, take pictures of what you're doing now. If you're selling items and you're packaging them, or you're behind your computer and you're doing stuff, take pictures of yourself working. Because a few years from now, when your business grows, it's really kind of cool to look back and to see where you started from. I didn't take enough pictures back then. But it's really kind of interesting because, I started in my bedroom at a little computer, and, I was selling stuff, and it was in my utility room, and then it was in my garage. I wish I'd taken pictures of this. I had removed the cars out of the garage, and I had racks in there. And then we moved to a small warehouse. I think we were at like 600 square feet. And then we went to, I think, 2,000 or 2,500. I don't remember the exact. And then 3,500. And then we went to one that was like 13,000 or 15,000. I don't remember the exact. And now we have 3 different locations. So that's pretty cool. So take pictures, okay? Because you'll be surprised what's going to happen. So what I did is I made a site, and I said, okay, this is going to be Survival Cave. And I originally started with the site Survival Cave. It was not Survival Cave Food. Survival Cave had all kinds of different products. You know, I sold other people's foods on there along with my own food. And then I got ready to get rich quick. Who's ready to get rich quick? You know, say yes. Oh, I see some people saying yes. Everybody's ready to get rich quick, right? You can put that in the comments there. Yes, me too. John says he's ready for it. So is Megan. Okay. So everybody's ready. Everybody's saying, yeah, I want to get rich. Denise saying it. William saying it. Hell yes. Joanne says it. We all do. But and you know, the reason I'm sharing with you all these little problems we went through, guys, is because you're going to hit some of the same stuff. And if you hit the same stuff, you can say, well, JR went through the same crap. It's not just me. Because a lot of times I felt like it was just me. I thought, oh my God, you know, I'm just not lucky. And all these things are going awful for me. And, you know, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Don't let those things get you down. Don't let it happen. Crystal says she's ready. Christopher says he's ready. Denise wants to get rich. We all do, but understand that these little problems, these are the things that will kill a lot of people, but don't let it kill you. Don't let it knock you down, okay? Don't let it hurt you, okay? So I still had no customers, right? Nobody knew about my product. They didn't know I had a product. You know, I thought, like some of you may think, you know, you build a site and they will come. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way at all. You know, having that site is great, but you know, as you know, if you're in my course, you got to drive traffic to that site. You got to use, you know, Facebook. You got to do ads. And back then, that was not that big of a thing. Google AdWords was the thing. And I started spending money on Google AdWords. I didn't know what I was doing. I was losing money. There was no instruction. I just kept dumping money into it. And, you know, I did dumb things. I didn't know back then that you need to run an ad for a particular product. And then when they click on it, it needs to go to that product page and offer that product. You know, I would just run an ad for the name of my website and expect people to go and land on my homepage and look around and buy stuff. And it doesn't work that way, right? We all know that if you're in the course, you know, there's a process to this. So I set up my computer and I waited for money to roll in. And it didn't happen, okay? It just didn't happen. I had this website nobody knew about. I had these products, but nobody knew they were there. So I really got frustrated at this point because what I would start doing during the day now, I didn't have anything else to do because I didn't have any orders, is I would start looking all over the internet. And I would look at some of these other survival sites that were out there, and I would see that they had thousands and thousands. William said he actually brought my products back then. Cool. Well, we still sell them. We sell them every day. I appreciate the business. And, you know, I would look at all these other sites and I would just get so envious. I would say, man, they got all this traffic and all these people going there and, you know, they're selling products like crazy. Why can't I do that? I didn't know what to do. I was just at a loss. I was just staring at my computer. I was working on SEO. I was just, you know, anything I could to get people to show up at my website. You know, I was trying to get higher in the rankings. You know, actually, if you search us now, we're on the first page, which is great. But, you know, that didn't help me back then when nobody knew about us. So an idea hit me. If you sit there and think long enough, you know, and I recommend this to anybody, if things aren't going right, just sit down, get quiet, you know, get rid of the kids, the TV, any distractions, and start writing. And if you say, well, I don't know what to write, I didn't know what to write either. But I just started writing down, you know, this site's got traffic, and this site's got traffic, and what are they doing on this site? This site's got traffic. And then I listed my own site, and it didn't have any traffic. Nobody was going there. So then this idea hit me, okay? And as ideas do, sometimes they're right, you know, sometimes they're fun to do, sometimes they're not. But my idea was that what if my product was on other people's sites? Now that's crazy, right? What if my product was on other people's sites? So what I did is I thought, what if they could sell my product on their site and they didn't have to stock any inventory? In other words, just list the product on their site. I mean, certainly any of these websites that had traffic would certainly want to have some survival food on there if it was a survival site. So if they didn't have to invest any money whatsoever, this is a slam dunk for them, right? All they got to do is sell the product and then I would ship it out. So I got on the phone and I started calling. And I started calling. I called every site I could find that was a survival site. Now I did this for hours a day. Okay, this was not easy to do. And they all said they would love to do it, right? No, they said, hell no, we're not going to do it. And why would they say no to me? Because they didn't know me, just like they didn't know my site. They didn't know anything about me. They didn't know anything about the product. So what do you do when people keep telling you no? Put in the box there, guys, what you would do if somebody just kept telling you no. If you called all these sites and you had this product and you knew it was a good product, but they just kept saying no to you, and this went on for days. William says, keep going. Ernesto says, keep insisting offer. Okay. John says, ask a different question. You guys are awesome, actually. You really are. Test run, Denise. Not quite sure what you mean. Maybe you mean send a sample or something like that. Find another way, Ralph says. Man, I like you guys. You're getting it, aren't you? Always keep going. Give them free product, Crystal says. Judith says, look for something else. Well, here's what I did. I just kept calling and I kept calling. And finally, I got somebody who said yes. Okay, there's always that one person in the crowd, right? That one person in the crowd to say, yeah, that sounds great. I'd love to do that. But that person, sometimes is not the best representative person. But I did get one person to say yes. Now, this was a person, it was an older man in New York, and he started a website, he was going to sell survival products. And I was so excited because I told Jessica, I had this guy and he's going to sell my products and I'm going to make money. And she kind of rolled her eyes. And I set up this little folder. We had this file cabinet and I put in the folder all these forms about this one guy because I was so excited. I will tell you that guy never, ever, ever ended up selling any of my product whatsoever. He was the first guy to sign up. But what we have to do is we have to let small victories carry us on to success. Now, that little victory of getting somebody to just say, yes, I'll put your stuff on my site. By the way, he never even built a site. That is enough sometimes to carry you on, okay? So I got a little image here. We have cats, we have dogs. But, sometimes those small victories are all you need. You just need to see a little bit of light, right? That's all I needed, see a little bit of light, okay? So this is today, and I took this screenshot. I think I did this on Monday, and I searched Survivalcave food. You can see we got 1 million results when I did that. You can see all the different categories that pops up below that. You can see there's YouTube videos, there's reviews on my product and all that. And, quite honestly, guys, if I had looked in my closet when I had those cell phone cases and said, this isn't going to work, I wouldn't be selling Survivalcave food now. It would have never existed. It wouldn't be a brand that, when you search it on Google, it's actually a search term now. I think that's pretty cool, but I didn't set out, and this is the big point I want to make today. I didn't set out to sell survival food. That was not my goal. No more than I set out to sell a course called Digital Cash Academy or Web Cash Academy. I'm just finishing a book right now. And it's about e-commerce. It's about how to find products to sell. And I wrote another book. You can find it on Amazon called The Great American Food Shortage. I didn't set out to do any of those things. But here's the thing I want to share with you today. And what I really want you to get out of this call is not that I did anything, that all you have to do is start. You gotta put that foot forward. You got to try to do, everything. Brat says, what's the first book? The first book was A Great American Food Shortage. You can find that on Amazon. The next book is going to be 4 Simple Steps to Find Profitable Products to Sell Online. So that's the next book, and that'll be out real soon. But I didn't start out to do any of this stuff. And what happens is when you start out to do something, you stumble on things, you meet people, you come across different things. In my building the other day, I went and talked to a guy who I met at a ClickBank dinner, and I just want to share this story with you real quick. I thought it was pretty interesting. He was one of the top affiliates at ClickBank for years and did really well, made a lot of money. His name's Jimmy. He lives here in San Diego, and his office happens to be right below mine. And he was really frustrated with some of the email providers, Aweber, the Active Campaign, Infusionsoft. He didn't like them. And he has a friend who knew some stuff about coding. He says, can we design, our own email, send type thing? He says, yeah, we could probably do that. So they got together and they did it. And a couple of their friends says, hey, what's this email thing? I understand that, it's pretty responsive and you guys are, getting better send rates than some of these other things. Could we buy that software? And they said, sure, you could do that. And that was a couple of years ago. And the name of the company is called Send Lane, by the way, if you ever want to look that up. But Senlane now has, hold on to your hats here, 40,000 subscribers. Jimmy's 38 years old, and that equates to about $12 million worth of revenue a month now. Okay. And this grew out of him having a problem. Okay. Him being in business and getting frustrated with his email. So, you know, and they're getting venture capital money now and all kinds of crazy things at 38 years old. So, you know, and it doesn't matter your age. You know, sometimes I hear stories about older people, younger people. You know, I have coaching clients all across the board in different ages. I do some private coaching now, which I never thought I'd be doing that. But the point is, you just have to start. You know, you got to just try things. And yeah, some of these things are going to fail. Matter of fact, expect to fail in the beginning and be happy about it, because that way you can get it out of the way. You got to get the failures out of the way first. Okay, that's what's really important. So now when I look at, you know, Survivalcave Food and what it's grown into, you know, I'm pretty happy about that. And it waxes and wanes. We don't always sell tons of food every day. Some days we don't sell near as much. Okay, but it's there and it's an asset and it's something that makes me money, as well as all these courses and books and different things that I'm working on. So keep all this in mind when you're working. Don't say, well, you know, my gadget didn't sell. I didn't make much money on my gadget. Your gadget, whatever it is, could be, you know, your sunglass cases. It's the thing that's going to get you to the next step if you keep pushing forward. That's all you've got to do. Okay. So then we got involved in drop shipping. Okay. And we bought a bunch of stuff from China and sold that now, everything from Trump coins to, well, I haven't even promoted them yet, but I've got some of these Trump dollar bills. And why would I do that? Because those things are popular. Okay. I'm not involved in politics one way or another. But, you know, I know my audience, and, you know, maybe they're conservative Republicans, and that's why they buy survival food. So, you know, we buy little things like that and sell it to them. So I was down in Cancun, and this was a few years ago. And I guess it was kind of a work type trip. And it was with some folks from ClickBank who I had really never met before. And they said, hey, you know, on ClickBank, we're going to start selling physical products. And we understand you sold millions of dollars of physical products. I said, well, yeah, I did. They said, why don't you do a course on it? And I said, a course? Wow, I never even thought about that. I said, sounds easy enough. Well, I was wrong about it being easy. And it ended up taking me 18 months to write the course. And that course, as you guys probably know it now, is Digital Cash Academy. Okay. And I say 18 months because you could have 2 babies in 18 months, right? I mean, there was a lot of labor to that. I understand why they call it labor now. There was a lot of labor to that course, but some of you have taken advantage of that and you have that course now. And it's an awesome course, and it's helped out a lot of people, helped a lot of people make money. I was talking to one of the members the other day, and he was really frustrated because he got some orders from New Zealand and he couldn't get them fulfilled. Something happened. There was some type of technical issue. I said, hey, but look at the cool thing. You're selling stuff to people in New Zealand now. He's like, yeah, you know, I didn't think about that. I was just focusing on the problem that I was having. You know, so there's so much you can do. There's so much you can grow into. There's so much that's going to happen for you if you get out of your comfort zone, if you try these different things. And certainly frustration is going to be part of it. You know, I hope in hearing my story, you understand we went through some of the same frustrations. But I would like to talk about some of the other things we've come up with. We also have Web Cash Academy, okay, which is pretty cool. I also have the Ecom Road, which should be on the screen. I can't see yet. Ecom Road course out there now. And I do private coaching now. But understand, this came from a lot of cell phone cases that didn't sell. And you know, little camping gear that kind of sold, and I made, you know, $10 on or $20 on, stuff like that. All these things came out of not wanting to go back to that boss, basically, but not quitting. And I started this in 2009, and here we are, 2018 now. So I'm going to open it up now, guys. I've got a few minutes left here, and I kind of like to hear what you're selling and what you're doing. You know, what are some of the niches you're working in? What are some of the problems you're having? What is this? Oh, somebody just handed me water. That was really nice. I appreciate that.
Sounds like you need water.
It does sound like I need water. Anybody else think I sound like I need water? So if you would put in the question area, the comment, or I guess it's under questions there, put in there some of the niches you're working in. I want to kind of look at that. And I want you to kind of think about that and what you're doing. Somebody, Kara says it has an autism niche. Very cool. That is a big problem, and that is a real niche. And I mean, that is, and I know people actually that sell in that niche. Huge money to be made there. Huge money, because that's a problem solving thing. And there are physical products and there are digital products that can surround around that. Somebody else is saying weight loss. Yeah, weight loss. I think weight loss will do well. It has since forever, I think. Yeah, that's about how far back it goes, is forever. Um, and there's all kinds of things that are surrounded around weight loss. I was listening to Frank Kern the other day. He's a really funny guy. I'm a digital marketer. I have a lot of admiration for him, but he said he was searching and he found a niche, and it was a raw food coach. Okay. Raw food coach. And I don't know how that coaching session goes, but he was saying it probably goes something like this. Okay, take your food and don't cook it. All right, hand me some money, So I guess that's what they do. Somebody says, William's doing survival and readiness. That's a great one. Obviously, I've been in that for years. Somebody's doing a fishing one. I love that. And you may want to target that, target that fishing niche to maybe deep sea fishing or fly fishing or something like that. If you could target that a little bit, because what will happen is if you don't, and I know a little bit about this niche because I was working with somebody on this one. If you just say, well, I'm going to do a fishing rod that you can use in a lake, you're going to miss your, fly fishing people. You're going to miss your, deep sea fishing people. So make sure you do that. Somebody's got sharks. Very cool. That's a very cool one. I worked with somebody who had a turtle niche the other day, which was very cool. That was one of my coaching people. TW says solar. Solar's huge. Very, very cool niche. There's a lot of digital products you can find now on ClickBank for solar stuff. Hip clothing. So Ferris is selling clothes that just goes on your hips. Now I know what you mean, Ferris. I know what you mean. You mean cool, like really popular type stuff. That's cool. Johan's doing adventure and travel gear. That's very cool stuff. Travel's huge right now. Ferris has got in there yoga, which is awesome. Self-defense, I think, is a really good one. Somebody's putting something up there under self-defense. There's a lot of great digital courses on those things. And you can make a ton of money on digital courses. I love that. Urban gardening. Larry's got, I like that. That is really cool. Now, what he's done is he realized that there's people that live in the city, right? And they actually would love to do gardening, but they say, well, I can't do it. I don't have a yard. Somebody like Larry comes along. He says, let me show you how to do it in your apartment. Let me show you how you can do it in your living room. It can actually look like a plant, but you can get food out of it. We have a lot of survival people that do that because they want to be able to grow their own food, and they'll do it in their own house. I sell small niche jewelry. And if you're in that jewelry niche, try to focus on a particular type of jewelry. The book I'm finishing now, I give an example in there that we focus on cat people, and we do cat jewelry in that particular example. But we want to focus on cat people. And the reason we wanted to do that is because they're going to buy cat t-shirts and cat mugs and cat posters and cat bracelets. So don't just say jewelry for your niche. I just give you that recommendation there. Bathroom decorations, Lewis says. That's a very cool one. We got elephant items, Judith. That is really cool. When you get into elephant stuff or turtle stuff, which is what I was working on the other day, once again, they will buy t-shirts, they will buy mugs, they will buy hats. And I mean, guys, you have it made nowadays. It used to be like if you wanted to sell t-shirts, you had to try to decide how many small, medium, and large you would do. You'd have to come up with a design. You have to buy them. You'd have to put them somewhere, and then you have to sell them. But now you got print on demand. I mean, you can just integrate your Shopify store, with so many, the T-Launch or any of these companies. There's tons of them out there. Sell them from your store, and the profit isn't as great as if you buy inventory, but you get zero investment. Ferris also says six-pack abs. Yeah, that guy killed it on YouTube. I don't know if any of you guys know about the six-pack abs guy. Let's see who else we got. So sell with vertical. Yeah, John, what you want to do is if you get a product that's selling, what you want to do is try other related products and start your niche store out of that. Somebody's asking something about Digital Cash Academy, Jessica. I can't see that one. If that's a question you want to ask, you can do so. Did you want to, or she's there? It's not just me.
Do you want me to answer him directly, or do you want?
It doesn't matter. Let me just see here what we got. Oh yeah, yeah. Digital cash. Somebody's asking, can I learn how to do it with digital and physical products? Yeah, Digital Cash Academy goes through all that. So that's what somebody was asking. Somebody's got babies in here. I would focus not on babies because they don't have good credit, not yet. Okay, so what you want to do now, if you want to focus on baby stuff, and I know what you're saying there, you want to focus on, let's say, single moms under 30 or moms that stay home that quit their job, and you want to get really focused on that. Same thing, I see cooking up there. You want to do the same thing. Don't just put cooking because, like, there are men who only cook outside. Okay, so you would miss them. You would want to target people who grill outdoors. You want to target people who like to make gourmet meals, or mothers who need to make quick meals. So you want to do something along those lines. You want to really get this targeted. You really want to niche it down because there are people that cook because they have to, right? And those aren't people that are going to probably buy anything from you. Crystal says a book. Yes, I've done books. Books are very good. Somebody says, can you still sell, what is that? I can't see all that, Jessica.
Bonsai trees.
Bonsai trees. Yeah, people are buying them every day. They die, Let's see here. Oh, and do it yourself car repair. That's also a really, really good one. This says choking books. I think that's cooking books. I could be something like that. Okay, so that's very cool. So there's so much out there. Don't guitar niche. I see that one there. Don't get hooked up in this thing where things aren't working out for you and things are going bad or whatever, because you know what? They will go bad. Things are going to go bad. It's like, if you don't want anything bad to happen to you, what you do is you just go sit in the back room of your house in a chair and just never leave there and hang out until you die. I mean, that's the way to avoid all problems, right? But eventually somebody's going to ask you to pay the rent and pay the bills, and it's going to get cold or hot, and you can't avoid problems. It's highly impossible to avoid problems. I've never, ever, ever seen anybody in my life that didn't have problems. And the problem with problems is whatever yours are the biggest ones to you. But sometimes you need to stop, you need to look around and look at what everybody else is doing. There are people in the world right now that don't have food, and sometimes my wife and I will complain because, well, I don't know if I want to go to that restaurant, I don't know if I go to that one. And then I'll stop and I'll say, wait a second, we're lucky to be able to even buy food. That's a pretty cool thing. And along the way, I want to make one suggestion to you. Cute little doggy somebody's got there. I like that idea. Is give away some of your money. Okay. And I don't mean all your money, but it kind of makes you feel good if you can help somebody out along the way. And you may not always be able to do it. Sometimes you can give more than other times, but that contribution back, I think, is so, so important. Jessica, there are a couple of people were asking about Ecom Road and where they could get involved in that, or Digital Cash Academy. She's going to put the links in the actual chat box. I can't think. I'm trying to type here. Do you have to have a business license for your online business? Most definitely. Most definitely. This is real stuff, guys. This is real business. So you gotta have a license. Very, very important. And it depends on your country. Like, I have a coaching client in Singapore, and his regulations are different than my one, in Chicago, or my one in Barcelona, Spain. So I can't advise you what you need, but I'm sure you need something. Maybe if you're in Nigeria, you don't have to. I don't know. And I'm kidding about that, of course. Look at some of these other questions. I'm gonna try to mop up a couple questions here. Somebody says, I also noticed that AliExpress doesn't sell some things that autism families need. That's probably true. And it may lead you in another direction. It may lead you to ClickBank. It may lead you to find, different things like that. See them in places like Alibaba and others. Should I use Dropify instead of Oberlo? Well, don't go into the Oberlo marketplace. Be really careful about that, guys. A lot of people think that you just have to buy or sell products that are in the Oberlo marketplace. If you're logged into Oberlo, go and log into AliExpress. And once you have those two connected, you can do anything from AliExpress pretty much. It's not, you're in the Oberlo marketplace. You don't want to do that. And you could actually add them from AliExpress. And I think I have a tutorial on that somewhere, but basically what you're doing is you're going to AliExpress. If you're logged in, when you hover over each one of the products, when you do a search, you'll see a green box around it if it's like ePacket, and you can just search by ePacket and do it that way. So that's probably what you're doing there. Let's see here, what other questions I got. What other sites besides Alley would you recommend? Alley is really, that's the good one now. You may find individuals who want to sell stuff, or you may want to be an affiliate for. We know a couple we've met through a dog walking group, and they have raw dog foods that are freeze dried, and they could probably drop ship stuff for us if we wanted to sell that, because we have a dog niche also. Let's see here. How much products per niche should you start with in your mix store? Well, here's the thing with the mix store, and I want to make this clear. Your mix store is a test site. It's not something that you're ever going to stick with. You're probably always going to have it, but the idea is just to have a place to put a product and park it until you can see if it works or not. So what we like to do is pick 4 or 5 niches, and then pick 4 or 5 products for each one of those niches, and put them in our mix store. Some are going to work and some aren't going to work. Some of your audiences are going to work and some aren't going to work. This is not a science, it's a process. So what happens is when you have 1 or 2 products that work in a niche, then you move those over to a niche store. So let's say I was selling an elephant bracelet and it did really well, and then I got an elephant mug and it did really well. In fact, I would move those over to a niche store, and then I would start looking for all the elephant products I could find. But you don't want to put 20 different niche products in your mix store. That's not really what you're going by to do that. Let's see here. Do I need to pay taxes? Yeah, you'd have to check with your local on that one there. What's the difference between them two, mixed store, niche store? I think I covered that. Is slow shipping from Alley an issue? Only if you make it an issue. What we're doing is we're not trying to be Amazon or eBay. You can't beat them. You can't beat them on price. You can't beat them on time. So what you do is you go after niches. So what if I was in the elephant niche, I would put some type of cool product in front of people who are in a bunch of elephant groups or who like elephant stuff, and when they see it and they click on it and they go to my order page, I have on there, this item is in high demand, expect 14 to 21 days, for shipping. And as long as you tell them up front, it's not a problem as long as you tell them up front. Somebody's saying, what's a good name for a mixed store? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. It could be, Ferris Great Products. It doesn't matter, because that store is never going to be your long-term store. It's just a test store is all that particular one is. Wow, guys, we've covered a lot. So did you enjoy hearing about all my problems? Put in there if you liked hearing my problems. Okay. Somebody says, yes, I love to hear that you had problems. Now, you're not doing that because you're being mean to me, are you? Very helpful, yeah. I think it just lets you know. Sometimes you sit back and you go, oh, that person's got it made because they got this and they got that. No, everybody's got problems. I don't care how successful they are or unsuccessful they are. Everybody's got problems. Somebody said there's a lot to consider. Larry says, amen, everybody's got problems. Yeah, we do. Success is nice, but you're not going to learn from success. Success is just like a little icing on the cake. You're going to learn from all these mistakes. It's like when we couldn't get that food shipped for us, we would have never had a brand. What if that company had continued to ship the food? We would have continued to sell crappy food. It wouldn't have had our own brand, and I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now. So, you got to look at those problems that you get and say, you know what, that's cool. JR had problems. This other person had problems, and that's what made them make money, is having problems. Somebody's saying that it's going too slow for them. It's going at the right pace. Whatever your pace is, it's right. Just keep plugging away. I worked off to the side for almost a year, staying up at night, trying to get things done. And maybe it'll take you 2 years, maybe it'll take you 2 months. I don't know. But the thing is, you're going to get more out of the process than you are out of the results. And I know we all do this for money, but just doing it, you're far more ahead of everybody else. Don't quit. Don't quit. Don't quit. That's my biggest advice to you today. So after I say that, I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit and go to lunch, though. I'm not going to quit work. And I appreciate all y'all showing up today. We had a full house. That's really super awesome. You asked some really great questions. I do appreciate all those questions. It's really cool hearing all that stuff. It's cool hearing all the stuff you're doing. And what's really going to be cool is, 6 months or a year down the road, and I'm hearing about all your successes, and you're going to tell me about all these problems that you worked through, and all this crap that you had to put up with. But you know, stay motivated and you can make it happen. So I'm going to sign off with that. Jessica, you want to tell them goodbye?
Bye, everybody. Have a good day.
And we're going to head out to lunch because that's what we do on Fridays. Anybody knows that or knows us, Friday's the one day that we can go together and have lunch. I appreciate it, guys. A couple people saying thank you there. I do appreciate you being here, and I appreciate being part of the group. And I will see you in the group, and you guys have a great day.